Hello, friends, and welcome to Adventures in Pixie Land. My name's Amy. I'm an ordained minister, and we are in Bible study. We are in the NIV. We are in the book of 1 Samuel, and we are in chapter 18. We are starting off here because David has just killed Goliath. We had the massive battle. Saul's jealousy of David. So here's the next thing. Because remember, Saul has been being tormented. And David has been the person, the shepherd boy, playing the music for him because it makes the demons go away. After David had finished talking with Saul, Jonathan became one in spirit with David, and he loved him as himself. So his best friend. Okay. From that day, Saul kept David with him and did not let him return to his father's house. And Jonathan made a covenant with David because he loved him as himself. Jonathan took off the robe he was wearing and gave it to David, along with his tunic and even his sword, his bow, and his belt. So I guess he did not have a lot of clothes on then. It sounds like he's naked at that point. So hopefully, he had other clothes he could put on. Whatever Saul sent him to do, David did it so successfully, wisely, that Saul gave him a high rank in the army. This pleased all the people and Saul's officers as well. So David's becoming quite popular. When the men were returning home after David had killed the Philistine, the women came out from all the towns of Israel to meet King Saul with singing and dancing, and with joyful songs and with tambourines and lutes. As they danced, they sang, "Saul has slain his thousands, and David his tens of thousands." Uh-oh. They just made David more of a warrior than the king. That never bodes well for anybody, right? Saul was very angry. Yeah. This refrain galled him. They have credited David with tens of thousands, he thought, but me with only thousands. What more can he get but the kingdom? And from that time on, Saul kept a jealous eye on David, who's actually already been anointed for the kingdom. So he's not wrong. He's not wrong, but one, he was warned, and two, it's not going to seem like that to people around him. It's the way it works. The next day, an evil or injurious spirit from God came forcibly upon Saul. He was prophesying in his house while David was playing the harp, as he usually did. Saul had a spear in his hand, and he hurled it, saying to himself, "I'll pin David to the wall." But David eluded him twice. Saul was afraid of David because the Lord was with David, but had left Saul. So he sent David away from him and gave him a command over 1,000 men. And David led the troops into their campaigns. And everything he did with great success. Well, he was anointed by the Lord, so of course he did. For he was very wise. So his great success was because he was very wise. Because the Lord was with him. When Saul saw how successful he was, or wise, he was afraid of him. But all Israel and Judah loved David because he led them in their campaigns. Saul said to David, "Here is my older daughter, Merab. I will give her to you in marriage. Only serve me bravely and fight the battles of the Lord." For Saul said to himself, I will not raise a hand against him. Let the Philistines do that." But David said to Saul, "Who am I? And what is my family or my father's clan in Israel, that I should become the king's son-in-law?" So, however, when the time came for Merab, Saul's daughter, to be given to David, she was given in marriage to Adriel of Meholah, Meholah. Adriel, Adriel. Now Saul's daughter, Michal, was in love with David. So thank goodness that her older sister did not marry him, because that would have been very tragic for her, right? And when they told Saul about it, he was pleased. I will give her to him, he thought, so that... Sorry about that. All right, so he was quite pleased. And why not? Because, he wants to marry this guy to, someone in his family, and here's a daughter that's even in love with him. What could go wrong? I will give her to him, he thought, so that she may be a snare to him, and so that the hand of the Philistines may be against him. A snare for him. Okay. So the Philistines would be against him. All right, well, so he wants him on his side. So Saul said to David, now you will have a second opportunity to become my son-in-law. Then Saul ordered his attendants, speak to David privately and say, look, the king is pleased with you, and his attendants all like you. Now become his son-in-law. They repeated these words to David, but David said, do you think it is a small matter to become the king's son-in-law? I am only a poor man and little known. When Saul's servants told him what David said, Saul replied, say to David, the king wants no price for the bride than 100 Philistine foreskins to take revenge on his enemies. Okay, so one there is indicating that there is a bride price that is an expected thing that is happening. So that's interesting. Other cultures at this time also have a similar situation. It's just, Saul's plan was to have David fall by the hands of the Philistines. So he's got a wicked under thing there. And if not, hey, then he gets 100 Philistines killed. When the attendants told David these things, he was pleased to become the king's son-in-law. So before the allotted time elapsed, David and his armies went out and killed 200 Philistines. He brought their foreskins and presented the full number to the king so that he might become the king's son-in-law. Then Saul gave him his daughter Michal, Michal, no E in there, like the masculine, in marriage. When Saul realized the Lord was with David and that his daughter Michal loved David, Saul became still more afraid of him and remained his enemy the rest of his days. The Philistines' commanders continued to go out to battle, and as often as they did, David met them with more success, or acted more wisely than the rest of Saul's officer, and his name became well known. He's also now the son-in-law of the king. So, of course, that doesn't Saul. Remember, because Saul appears being bothered by demons, so he is absolutely not seeing things clearly. So, and that will continue into the next chapter, friends.